The following content has been provided by RWTH Aachen University.
Let's take a little detour into switching on this remote. Into sources you can get your information if you're interested in HCI or want to be up to date what is going on. And there are actually the most up-to-date information you can get from conferences. And the biggest one is the CHI, so Computer-Human Interaction Conference, which is mostly happening in America or Europe. I think this year it was in Korea, so traveling around the globe. And it's a very big conference with 2,000, 3,000 people. And they're presenting the most up-to-date work, what they have done in the last year, over the last couple of years. Yeah, so there you can get the most immediate information about what's happening in this field. There are other conferences related to the area, but not specifically or just for HCI. There's WIST, which is more technical. So WIST stands for User Interface, Software, and Technologies. So yeah, how can I interact with different interfaces with different technologies, so no input devices, although will land here. DIS1 is not only the name of this course, but it's also a conference. Not sure who was first. I don't want to look that up, actually. And Interact, which is more from the European or Asian community, but I think this year also a lot of people from Brazil or South America in general were there. CSCW is computer support and collaborative work. Ubicomp, which is about ubiquitous computing, which is something we will talk about as well later on in this class. Ubiquitous computing in general means embedding technology everywhere, so it's all around you, and you're not having a specific device anymore that you carry around and do everything with, but it's actually all around you. And also ACM multimedia. Second source of information are also journals, which have a longer time or lifetime where the results are relevant. So for journals, this is in general so 5 to 10 years, while for conferences it's below that because it's more the leading edge of research. So next year you might have different results or more improved results. So what you've done before is old news already. And Tokai, so transactions on computer-human interaction is one of the archival publications we have there. Interactions or PUC, which is personal and ubiquitous computing, so belongs to this conference in a way. So these journals have a longer shelf life of 5 to 10 years. And the good thing is, since you're students of RWTH Aachen, you have access to the ACM digital library. So the Association for Computing Machinery has a digital library where you can basically get all the papers from the conferences, or I think also a lot of the journals can download them directly and have access to all this up-to-date information. Okay, so another source of information, which is even longer than the 5 to 10 years, are books. And one of the biggest ones in our area is the Design of Everyday Things that we are requiring you to read in this course, which talks about the affordances, constraints, and mappings of everyday items that you encounter in your surroundings. A more general textbook is the Human-Computer Interaction book from Alan Dix. And you have already some chapters of that in the L2P, and I think they're already up there. Some you have to read this week. So it's giving you a basic understanding of this field. Schneiderman is also in there with designing the UI, which is he conducted interviews getting two different user interfaces, getting different descriptions of the user interfaces and how you should approach them if you want a voice-controlled UI, if you want a multi-touch UI, what you should keep in mind for all these different things. Nielsen has then a more practical approach when you want to prototype something. So if you're in the company and someone comes in and says, I want to have this design tested tomorrow, what can you do to quickly create a prototype that you can go out and test with users to get feedback on the actual design that you want to use. And that is often the case when you're actually doing business in that area, that you get a design and it's your task to test it. Does it work? Where are the problems? What can I improve there? So yeah, Christmas is around the corner. So if you want to, can add some of these books there on your list, and you'll be surprised how many you will get. You can say, well, I'm a poor student. I want to get more information. I want to gain knowledge. You might get some. And for books in general, and in particular for the book you're reading for this class, there are some points on active reading that Jan likes to point out, what you can really do to improve your gain that you get from reading the book. And the key thing is, don't just read it, but use it, make it your own. And that means, well, if you have a key point on the page highlighted, not all of that, don't go into this Zen moment where you just drag your pen under the words. Just, if you have something that is really important, mark it in a way. And then after a chapter or a paragraph, scribble brief summary, what you had. If there's something in that paragraph that really surprised you, or you thought, well, I didn't think about that, mark it somehow, make crazy associations there, what you can think for project ideas, how you can use this, and just write it into the book. And that makes it a lot more valuable for you. Then, for example, we will talk about affordances and signifiers in a bit. And you can put sticky notes in there where these topics actually are. So if you have to look it up soon or quickly, you can just open it directly at the page. You don't have to scan it quickly. Just makes it a lot faster to get to the important points that we're talking about. Then you can also summarize the chapters if you want. But it's all not mandatory for you to do. It's just, if you have this book and you work with it so much you can tell it apart when it's 10 feet away, basically it lowers the value if you want to sell it, but the value for you is really, really increased because it's so much faster for you to get to the information that you need. You have some associations in there, which, as we learned last week, associations help to get stuff into your memory. So what you've done with the book actually helps you learn the stuff that we're teaching here. So this is the book, and I've already seen, or not seen now, I've asked how many of you have this. And when we are finished with this lecture, we're already about 12% into the book. So get it and start reading there. And a little bit on the history of that. It was originally published as the Psychology of Everyday Things. And that shelved it then in the psychology area. And, well, no one or not many people used it. But design of everyday things then left it into the design area, and there a lot of people just picked it up and used it very much. And yeah, you can call yourself designers when you've read that book. Yay! But over the years, it came to know as one of the Bibles of HCI. So if you are at one of the big conferences, chances are very high that the people you talk to have read this book or at least know about that. So it's one of the cornerstones we have there. And what this book did, or one of the great achievements was that it introduced the concept of affordances and signifiers to the HCI community. They were actually in the psychology area already more established, but yeah, this book really got it also to the computer. And Don Norman is actually writing a lot of books, so every couple of years he's publishing a new book. In general, he deals there with usability and how to design things that work for people that you can just use. So all of these deal with that area. So if you want, can add these also to your list and just increase the Christmas wish list.
This content was provided by RWTH Aachen University.